So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the second tabernacle services, where we find the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end. As per Yeshayahu the prophet, we find layers of understanding of the spring feast, the Autumn feast, and also the returning of the cities of the Hamashiach laid waste for many centuries. As we read it in Yeshayahu the prophet, very important to read in the 65th and 66th chapter, in sections of the Autumn feast, because that's the portion that's coming, and the very last portion of the holy instructions for the time of the end. So then today, very importantly, came out very important information regarding the technology of China. As it was explained before, the Chinese system is coming. In talking of the situation, more than 36 months speaking of these particular layers. And it's truly amazing the amount of information that the Spirit of the Divine shows on His Word when there is dedication for His holy instructions. Now then, today this information is very fresh. And then China launched the world's first quantum spatial equipment on top of a Long March 2D rocket from the Yuquan Launch Center in northwest China's Gansu province. So then, today, we find this information very pertinent, because the tests of these equipment in the space gives us a few clues of the trade of the end via the internet. Now then, this particular system obviously boasts ultra high security, as a quantum photon can neither be separated nor duplicated. Hence, the situation is, in order to do any kind of wiretap or intercept or crack the information, it is undoable. So then, the point of this particular layer of the holy instructions explains then the kingdom of the East. And then the Chinese system obviously is very powerful, and because of the lack of sound study of the holy instructions, we find our government, our economy, now we find this new government going against the plans of the previous government. So it's very unproductive, the level of incompetence of our country. As it was explained before, they are so much enriched, so many benefits, they don't want to even think of the new trade of the end. And there it is. Now our economy is in very bad shape. And rather than understanding the time of the restoration period and maintaining the workings and plans of the previous government. Then comes the blame game of the Republicans and those kinds of dirty games, and there is. The system of China is coming. Now they already have equipment in space that no person can hack into it. So it is showing many kinds of situations and understandings that the system of China became exclusive. The tests of this system has brought China exclusivity from any other nation in this planet. Well, then, there are a few situations going on, because truly the science, technology, industry, and self-defense, these are then the areas that the administration of science has already tested the system. Now then, because of other countries, they are so stuck in centralized banking and the way were things 50 years ago, 70 years ago. Now China comes very strongly via online, and they already have a signal that goes up in space and down, and nobody can hack into it. So then, since our government is so far behind, it's incredible the amount of work we must perform simply to catch up with our own system. We're not even talking of flexibility of receiving other countries' monetary systems and virtual monies. We cannot even understand and charge the proper taxes in a domestic level. Now, rather than using the previous systems and then simply refining what President Obama so hardly worked during his presidency, now I have a completely shift, and rather than going forward, then the blame game then is around. That's the one bad thing of Republicans, is religiosity and blame. Now, there are important topics that should be worked on, but already China already revealed it. Now, this system of theirs, it's already available. You can simply imagine when their banking system is linked up with it. So China is receiving exclusivity thus far. Now the media mostly are, brainwashed by lots of administrations, and then the power-hungry control freaks wants to get a hold of power at any cost, and simply, what for? If our government has failed regarding our own taxation, Now, can we tackle then the world's monetary system if we can barely charge properly taxes online on a domestic level? Now, the level of stupidity and desire for power is reaching ridiculous levels. Why would our government want the power for if they cannot control its own system? Now, our country cannot tap into this new signal of the Chinese system. They simply cannot. Now, what are they going to do about it? Other than blame games and undoing what the previous administration did, and then sticking their noses in the rest of the world's market. Other than this, so then, this new system at the moment, it is a generation of high orbit geostationary orbit space vehicles. Now, when people adopted the blame game, and when our government is not truly prepared for what's coming in the future, what are they going to try to control? The government have any idea how many thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people in our own country are not paying taxes? Then they already have the answers and they are not acting upon it. Now, either they are stupid or they won't be stupid, or they make as a situation so they can get around it and, get their time in the government and get a nice retirement, and then let the people then, bear the burden of the bad economy. That's very much what it sounds like. Now, sounds like we have a miracle worker in our government. It's going to bring thousands upon thousands upon thousands of overseas jobs, and there's nothing but BS. Our labor cost is very high. A person with a bit of a study, a bit of research, can absolutely detect that these future plans of our country it won't take place. Now, it is one thing not being optimistic, and the other thing is lining up with government's wishes. As long as they have their period of service, they get a nice retirement, and then the people bear the burden. It's incredible then most people in our country, they don't realize how important internet trade is. And though the government already has an idea of these new systems around the world, they are doing absolutely nothing of working towards organizing taxation in our country and then making our systems available for the receiving of these particular monetary systems, and they are doing nothing. They are simply printing out more money. Decentralized bank junk. Obsolete junk. And there it is. China goes forward every time. Now what do people want? What kind of a power our government wants? Power for what? Make other countries mad? Trying to control other countries? With what kind of a system? Through force? It doesn't work anymore that way. It doesn't work because this period of time is favoring decentralized systems. And Daniel already gave the particulars, details regarding this period of time. And there is. Some roughly 24 months ago, then came Alibaba in uniting many nations in the planet. Now, as they understand, Alibaba is an Arab word. Now, the price of crude has gone down roughly a third is the price of the drum. There were times that it was 140. Now it ranges from 30 to 50. And plans for depopulation section of Louisiana and the Gulf of Mexico turned into a gigantic refinery. Where are these plans? Now wait a minute, maybe they have changed their minds because the price of crude has gone down so much. Now this new government isn't helping very much, is it? What they have found thus far is what the plans were set before. Many people then lost their health insurance. Now where they fought so hard for it, now it's being wiped out. And how is the government going to tackle the tax problems? We are no longer in a time linked up with the Federal Reserve, central banking, and those kinds of situations. Those times are gone. And the government hasn't realized yet. It is incredible that people are so stupid and go along with this crazy new government and dismantling things that they worked so hard previously. So it shows that comes in a bunch, they rape the country, they do whatever they want, they get nice retirements, comes the other government, there they are, they make nice retirements out of it, and comes the other government and nice retirements out of it. And people believe these fables of thousands upon thousands of jobs coming from overseas. It won't come. It never did before. In modern times, it won't be the first time. I'm not saying that the new president has no capability. That's not the point. But the market has shifted from what it was and what it is. And our government has no ability of adjusting. There they are, how many thousands of transactions goes on in our country without paying any taxes. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands. Now people are power hungry, control freaks. For what reason? What are they going to do? Surface a submarine in front of a Chinese cargo ship? Now they already have a system that's absolutely unbreakable. Don't they realize they're going to use for the purposes of internet trade? No, but they want to try again. They want to try to control freaks, and it won't work. The only solid understanding is truly the Scripture and reading it properly. Daniel the prophet was a very able economic minister. We find he worked under many kings, and he received these understandings very precisely regarding then the time of the restoration period. The 10th chapter of Daniel mostly talks of China when it relates with the reflected prophecies. Of course, people that already have abolished the instructions of the divine, how are they going to understand the prophecies? They don't even know and understand the prophecies as they are. How are they going to understand the reflected prophecies? How are they going to realize? And then the kingdom of the East, speaking back then, was a geographical area, and during the time of the restoration is China. Now they had already built 12 cities underground, and Mountain View, and lots of banks going on, and there they are, the government again coming up with plans and deceiving the people, and the people stupid goes and votes, and has this religious hope that things are going to be improved, and they are not. Come on, they are only there to get their timing and get nice retirement out of it. What does it take to put in the people's mind that the government is not concerned with it? Without pushing for revolution and war and destruction and breaks, how long is it going to take for the people to get in their minds the government simply wants money in their pockets? Or they have some sort of a divine understanding that the divine has plans for our country, and religious junk. There is no link with it. If there was any link with it, our country wouldn't be in so bad shape. So then the 21st verse of the 11th chapter explains of a system that is despised. You find in the Hebrew very specific explaining these particular layers of the reflected prophecies. Now, truly it is amazing. Daniel the prophet is already explaining a system despised in the language of Hebrew and speaking of economy is a weakened system. Back then, if a system wasn't working, it was then despised. But despised in the sense that the system wasn't strong. That's what's going on in the economy of our country. Now, how much more divine a person can become giving the answers from the holy instructions and giving understandings how to tackle this new cyber generation of information and technology and computers and relating economy with it and taxation with it, yet the government simply wants to get by with it and retire from it. You let the other bunch come in and lie some more to the people, and then people get, hopeful. And then on top of it, when reading the truth and giving the truth, then people get angry on top of it. Not only this, then the people have a pride problem. And speaking of their own understandings of divine path and understanding of the scripture, then they get angry, they get defensive because they are hearing sound understanding from the instructions. No, but they're going to try again, and they're going to die trying for a system that is already dead. Daniel already explained, the system is despised. Now, don't people realize the times and the seasons? Now, should a citizen become concerned with the economy of the country? Of course should. But are you going to place religiosity in the midst of it and then being hopeful for something that simply won't take place? A new bunch has come in and they are lying. Now what are people going to do? They're going to believe a lie and then force the divine to do what they think should be done, when the instructions are already given, the answers, and the divine won't change these instructions? What is our government going to control outside in the Asia Pacific? Now they already have an infallible system that cannot be intercepted, wiretap, crack down. What are they going to do about it? Then Daniel explains and shall not be given to him honor of this area of this country related with this particular system, and speaks of intrigues. There is lies upon lies, blame, and Daniel's already given the answers. Now, it's not intriguing of the point of curiosity. It's intriguing because they knowingly and purposely are lying. So time goes on, and they only get their retirements and nice lifestyle, and it didn't work. That's the way it is, and comes a new government and promises the world and miracle workers, and then 40 years gone by, couldn't do it. Now, how many thousands upon thousands of transactions, let's say for instance, is the government able of tracking transactions? Not even this much they are able. The government is completely lost in their records. When speaking of this new way of internet trade, they are lost. Then explains later on that the system then, after helping the continent of Africa, the organizing of the rare materials industry, then there are the information, very important, explaining then the refurbishment of the economy, but this truly is after, only after, the rare materials industry in Africa then is organized. Thus then the kingdom of the South. So next time we're going to evaluate more of this situation in the enlightenment of this new Chinese system. Now they already have a signal that nobody can break it. So please stay tuned, much more coming up.